Everything litty, I love when it's hot. Turned to the city, I broke out the notch. Got some more millions, I keep me a knot. I created history, it made me a...
Welcome to Fantasy Football News. Today we will be talking about Week 5 waiver wire targets. We are going to limit our explanations on why you should pick up these players so we can fit more players into the video. Let's get into it. The first nearly unowned player on today's list is Jordan Howard. Whereas he has only had one good game as of yet, putting up 30 fantasy points and scoring 3 touchdowns against a much improved Packer defense, I believe he has upside. Coming into the season, we thought Miles Sanders would be eating up a lot of his snaps and carries. He has taken a few, but has not yet proven enough after fumbling 2 weeks ago. It has also become clear that Howard is the red zone and goal line back. His first 2 weeks are not great, as the Eagles' backfield was a mess. Yet, the last 2 weeks, he's had touchdowns in both games. This Eagles' O-line is elite, and we know they can support any back. But not only the O-line. When we saw Howard in action, he actually looked good, running hard, and even working a bit in the receiving game. There's no guarantee he keeps this up, but he's worth a spot on your bench or a possible flex play in deeper leagues. With Darrell Williams still sidelined in Week 4 against Detroit, Darrell Williams led the Chiefs' backfield in touches and snaps for the second straight game. Kansas City's backfield has turned into a full-blown timeshare, and predicting who will score touchdowns here will be a difficult proposition each week. But Darrell Williams needs to be owned in every single fantasy league. Not only has Williams out-touched McCoy in back-to-back games, but Williams also led the duo in routes run in Weeks 3 and 4. And he was on the field for every snap of the Chiefs' game-winning drive against the Lions. Davante Adams is unlikely to play for Week 5, which opens up an opportunity for Marquez Valdes-Scantling and Geronimo Allison to lead the Packers' receiving corps in Week 5. MVS is available in about half of fantasy leagues, while Allison has been widely dumped after catching just 5 balls for 24 yards and a score in Weeks 1 through 3. Chris Herndon, still 80% available in leagues. Herndon remains a great stash at the worst position in fantasy football. Sam Darnold remains out, but Herndon is one of only a few Week 5 waiver wire targets that actually has the potential to greatly impact fantasy lineups in the near future. Herndon has just 1 game left in his suspension and will return in Week 6. The Patriots stopped throwing to their tight ends in the opening month of games, but that could change in Week 5 with veteran Ben Watson returning from suspension. Watson is 38 years old now, and it's unlikely he'll play a full-time role out of the gates, but virtually everyone is searching for usable fantasy tight ends. Watson is currently owned in less than 5% of leagues. I would love to go all in on this pair of talented Titans pass catchers in fantasy, but A.J. Brown and Corey Davis, Week 4 blow-up games were a little random and unlikely to repeat. Atlanta's defense is really struggling right now, and we know the Titans want to limit Marcus Mariota and be a run-first team. Plus, we can't trust either of these receivers in Week 5 with a tough matchup against the Bills up next. But both Brown and Davis are fine depth options for the bye weeks, and I try to fill my bench spots with players who have a little more upside instead of chasing the Titans' passing game. Because we've heard so many complaints about how tight end is such a thin position, all of the fantasy-relevant options should be on rosters at this point. Jimmy Graham is available in 80% of leagues, but his usage has been all over the map with target counts of 5, 1, 1, and 9 in the opening month. Still, Graham will be the top streamer for Week 5 if Davante Adams misses. Tyler Eifert is in a great matchup this week against the Cardinals' gruesome tight end defense, but he is splitting time with C.J. Uzomah. Eifert has an extremely low floor in fantasy. Finally, Gerald Everett, Noah Fant, and Dawson Knox are all over 95% available and will see their usual 3 to 6 targets this week, but they are true desperation plays only. In PPR leagues, Jamison Crowder, Cole Beasley, and Kiki Kuti are also viable flex plays. Thank you guys for watching this video. Do you agree or disagree with my waiver wire targets? Let me know in the comments below, along with any other fantasy football questions. I'm out.